Thank you very much. I'm sorry I've only just arrived. I was in the House of Commons, so I couldn't get here any sooner than that. First of all, thank you all for attending, and thank you for showing support and concern for the plight of the people in Gaza. A couple of things I want to say. Tomorrow I'm going to Gaza as part of this parliamentary delegation from the British Parliament and a number of European parliaments and members of the European Parliament. And there are apparently likely to be 60 members of Parliament from all across Europe visiting Gaza at the same time. At one level it sounds quite horrendous, 60 MPs in one place. That's more than you get on a bus, so it's a big attendance. But I think it has a political importance, which is quite considerable, to show that level of commitment and determination from across Europe to go to Gaza as an act of solidarity with the people there that are imprisoned, that are being starved, that are being bombed, that are being killed, that are being imprisoned literally in Israeli jails, is something that is very, very important indeed. And I'm very pleased to be able to be part of that delegation and also to carry a message to those people that we're able to meet whilst we're in Gaza tomorrow. And there are a number of messages that we have to convey. First of all, a year ago, the Israeli bombardment of Gaza was going on. Indiscriminate bombing of civilian targets, bombing of schools, mosques, homes, ambulances, hospitals, the indiscriminate killing of civilians, of children, in that particular process, the use of illegal weapons such as white phosphorus, and the leadership of the government of Israel was saying that it was a reasonable and proportionate response to the rockets that had been fired from Gaza into Israel. The numbers had almost stopped because there was a ceasefire in place anyway, and the disproportionality of the thing is absolutely breathtaking. And the leadership of that government, the Prime Minister, the Minister of Defence and the Foreign Minister all claimed that there was no humanitarian crisis in Gaza, there was no great problem in Gaza, and there was no need for the rest of the world to be concerned. What breathtaking arrogance, what lack of humanity they showed. And I am astonished that when Judge Goldstone was asked to undertake an investigation, who is not necessarily totally sympathetic to the Palestinian cause, indeed he described himself as a Zionist in many cases, although he was a very brave opponent of the apartheid regime in South Africa, undertook a very, very detailed examination of the situation in Gaza and reported to the UN Human Rights Council. Disgracefully, the British government representative wasn't even in the voting chamber in Geneva to vote on the report. It would have actually been more honest if they voted against it, actually, because that would have been the honest position, because that is the reality of what was being said by the Foreign Office and others at that time. That report has now been referred to the UN Security Council. And I hope, as a result of that, prosecutions take place of those that ordered that bombing, and it is quite rightly declared to be illegal, which I believe to be the case. Those lawyers in this country that bravely and correctly sought an arrest warrant for Tzipi Livni, who was Foreign Minister at the time, used international humanitarian law to achieve that. And the reason we have universal jurisdiction in Britain is because those of us that opposed the Pinochet regime in Chile, and he was arrested in this country on a Spanish extradition warrant, he appealed against that. He claimed diplomatic immunity as a former head of state. That was rejected. He claimed the British courts did not have competence in matters concerned with Chile. The High Court and the House of Lords ruled that the British courts did have competence and jurisdiction in this because of the international treaties we have signed, particularly the International Convention Against Torture. So, from that moment on, universal jurisdiction applied in the British courts. When Livni was due to come, lawyers acting on behalf of the Palestinians applied for and got an arrest warrant for her, and as a result she either didn't come or went home quickly, because it's very unclear whether she was here at that time or not. So I was astonished when The Foreign Secretary, the Prime Minister, the Foreign Office media machine got going and said, well, we'll change the law. Well, sorry, not with my support they won't change that law, because I am absolutely determined to maintain the principle of universal jurisdiction, so war criminals, wherever they are, wherever they come from, can be brought to justice. It is quite simply a point of civilization. And I'll just conclude with this general point concerning the history of the Palestinian people and of occupation. Many words have been written, many people have spoken, and many people have done a great deal on this. The reality is that the Palestinian people have been the subject of various forms of occupation for a very long time, from various empires, from various colonial powers, and they've suffered as a result of it. Those Palestinians that rose up against the British mandate in the 1930s, those that were killed by the British military presence at that time, those that were killed by the Zionist forces that tried to take over and successfully took over, I suppose, in the 1940s, and the expulsion of people from their homes and from their land to live either on the West Bank or in Gaza, or to go to the Four Winds. That determination to return, that right of return, is something that's enshrined in international law. It's enshrined in United Nations resolutions. Every time a peace process comes up, the Palestinians are asked to trade land for peace. Every time an agreement is about to be made, the goalposts are moved, the whole concept of the agreement is changed, and once again, the Palestinian people lose out. I've travelled many times to Palestine, I've been in Israel, I've been in other countries in the area. There is something that is shocking beyond belief, that you go into a supermarket-dominated shopping mall in Ashkelon or any other town in Israel. A few minutes away, there's a huge wall, there's a barbed wire fence. Behind that wall, across that fence, there lies poverty, there lies rutted roads, there lies unemployment, there lies short lives, there lies high level of death and disorientation of those people. That is the reality of the apartheid system that's been imposed on the Palestinian people at the present time. Our job is to break the siege of Gaza. Our job is to support the people of Gaza and all of the Palestinian people. Because until there is recognition of the justice and the cause of the Palestinian people, there's not going to be any peace. It's all very well appealing to people's better nature and better conscience. And I said this in Parliament yesterday, that if you look at a demonstration on the streets of London, in any other big city, and the police corral the demonstration, it's called kettling. People get agitated, they get concerned, they get frightened, they get angry, and they start doing things that they probably wouldn't do in any other circumstance. Look at Gaza. Big fence around it, military at the sea, planes flying over it, are people imprisoned. Is it surprising that those people are very hurt, very angry, and crying out for our help and our support? Peace means justice, peace means recognition, a peace dividend is demilitarization of the whole area. Continuing to supply Israel with huge amounts of aid, with lots of lines of credit, with lots of military equipment, merely exacerbates the problem and makes it far worse. Sort out the justice for the Palestinian people. That will bring peace, and that will bring justice. None of us are going away, none of us are giving up. We're going to be there as long as it takes for justice for the Palestinian people. Thank you very much.